Senator Tom Cotton. Senator, you wrote a book about this. You're with the Senate Select Intelligence Committee, and your book is 7 Things You Can't Say About China, but you are saying them. Senator, great to see you. 500 universities? How long have we been letting this go on?
Brian, unfortunately, it's been going on for decades. Our universities are the sites of some of the most advanced research in the world. Sometimes that's explicitly for defense or intelligence purposes. Oftentimes, it's for what you might call dual-use technologies. Talk about artificial intelligence or machine learning that can help power economic growth, that can also be very useful for our military as well. Yet we have Chinese nationals working in some of these scientific laboratories at our top universities. I can tell you that almost every Chinese national that gets a visa to come here to go to school or work in a university is probably associated with the Chinese Communist Party or the People's Liberation Army. They're not coming here to study the Federalist Papers or Shakespeare, which is what China really needs. They don't need to learn quantum computing and artificial intelligence and rocket science from the United States. So just like the Trump administration cracked down in the first term on the so-called Confucius Institutes, which are used to spread Chinese communist propaganda across our universities, we need to crack down on the presence of Chinese nationals at our top universities, many of which are using government money on government contracts to help our military and intelligence community.
Yeah, so the President of the United States says, I want 600,000 Chinese students because our higher education needs the money. I don't want 600,000. We already have 277,000. So in 2017, a law you know about and wrote about, the National Intelligence Law in China, mandating all Chinese citizens must support, assist, and cooperate with the state when it comes to the work that they're doing. And if not, their families will pay the price. That's in 2017. So if you even have a well-meaning student, they're obligated by the state to report back and acquire intelligence if commanded. That's why you're passing the Protecting American Research and Talent Act, correct?
Yeah, we don't want Chinese nationals coming to our universities and taking that information back to their country. We don't want Chinese nationals coming to our universities and then taking technology back that's going to help them in their competition against the United States, whether they do so willingly or whether they do so because the Chinese Communist Party coerces them through force or through pressure on their families. I think it's time to cut off this pipeline to our universities. There's other things that we need to do as well, Brian. You know, our national laboratories, places like Los Alamos or Sandia that are doing critical work on nuclear weapons or quantum computing still have Chinese, Russian, and even Iranian nationals visiting them. We need to cut that off as well. A lot of these scientific institutions at our universities, at our national labs, have great science. They frankly don't have a lot of hard-nosed common sense about security.
And Senator, the White House really respects you. If you go in there with this information and with a game plan, you'll be able to implement it. Meanwhile, China this last week just went nuts. Oh, we're going to hold back rare earth. We're going to attack America when it's trade, and all of a sudden tried to, re-engage in a trade war. The markets hated it. The president bounced back, and now it looks like they're going to meet on October 31st still. But still, China is looking to hold over us rare earth, that they have 70% of the world's rare earth. We can correct that within the next 18 months. But they're also trying to draw a wedge between countries in our own hemisphere, like Argentina, who are looking to possibly bail out. Your thoughts about China's role in our hemisphere, in Brazil, in Venezuela, and Argentina?
Well, just a quick point on the rare earth issue, Brian. China is asserting control basically over every manufactured product in the world, not just from China, if it includes rare earths that were processed in China. Obviously, we can't allow them to do that. President Trump has taken a firm stand on it. I back him all the way on that stand. And we do need to develop more rare earth processing here in the United States and in friendly allied nations. It's not going to happen overnight, but it can happen pretty quickly if we're serious about it. A lot of these things are elements from the periodic table that you and I, most of your viewers, probably couldn't even pronounce, but they are essential in modern manufacturing. Now, for what China is doing in our hemisphere, it's clear they've been meddling here for some time. They have Chinese intelligence agents all over Mexico. They own major facilities on either side of the Panama Canal. Fortunately, an American company is about to purchase those, so we're going to take that out of Chinese control. They're trying to interfere with our relationships with friendly countries like Argentina. You know, they've cut off American soybean farmers. And I hear it from Arkansas farmers all the time. China is buying none of our soybeans. They don't have the market that they once did. They're still struggling with inflation from Joe Biden's era because of the higher price of seeds and fertilizer and diesel and trucks and machinery and equipment. It's a very tough time in farm country. Yet China is not buying any soybeans at all. So we got to open new markets like the president has done in Japan and Taiwan. We're going to open other markets elsewhere. We have a new farm bill that's going to help our farmers starting in the next season. And I suspect the president's going to provide them some aid because we're not going to allow China to drive a wedge between our friends in countries like Argentina and us and get an even bigger foothold in the Western Hemisphere.
And the president's great at using leverage, saying, hey, you guys want to bail out on the peso? Well, you're going to start buying, you're going to stop selling your soybeans to China. How about that? And I know he'll be able to do that. And the rare earth, we have to mine and refine rapidly in a Manhattan Project-like speed. Senator, you know this all too well. Thanks so much. And finally, America realizing, which you wrote about in your book, that China is the problem that needs to be confronted. Appreciate it.